Hello and welcome back to the Simple Joy Show. Today I'm going to touch on the debate between decluttering and organising. It's easy to think that organising is the way to take your home from feeling really cluttered and chaotic to being really functional and clutter-free, but actually organising alone is never going to solve your clutter problem. So today I'm going to share why decluttering, not organising, is the best way to solve your clutter problem for good, and help you learn how focusing on decluttering first can make it really simple to get and stay organised. This is the Simple Joy Show, the podcast for people who are ready to declutter and simplify their homes and lives to create more space, time, energy and freedom. I am your host, Hayley Forster, mother, wife and declutter coach, and I'm going to be sharing with you simple bite-sized nuggets to help you on your journey to living a simpler life through the power of decluttering. So if you're ready to choose calm over chaos, then let's dive into today's show. So, when you walk through your home and you see clutter, I bet you any money your first instinct is to want to go out and buy new storage containers. And I've got to admit, I've done this plenty of times. I love a nice, pretty storage box. And that's because we often think that organising is the ticket to having a clutter-free home. But what if I told you that organising just by itself is not going to really help you out at all? Yes, both organising and decluttering both serve a purpose, but the key is in the order that you do them in. So if you organise without decluttering first, what you're doing is you're just moving the clutter around. You're wasting your time, you're wasting your space, and actually you're probably wasting money as well buying those storage boxes when you don't actually need them. The first step should always be decluttering, not organising, because you want to actually get rid of the stuff that you don't use or you don't love. And then after you've thoroughly decluttered, you can start to organise, and then that then further simplifies things. Because if we're looking to achieve a long-lasting clutter-free home and life, which is what we're all wanting, we need to step back and we need to ask ourselves, why do I have so much in my home to organise in the first place? And that's because organising can sometimes act as a plaster or a bandage that temporarily covers the clutter, but you're not actually addressing the root issue. So by decluttering first, you're really evaluating what items in your life serve a purpose and what items are ready to go, and you drastically reduce. I mean, I got rid of probably about 70% of my possessions when I first decluttered, but you're reducing the amount that needs to be organised in the first place. And when we declutter, we're making intentional decisions about what to keep and what to let go. And the magic behind that is that once we've decluttered, your organising becomes so much simpler. Suddenly everything has its place, it's got a home, and it's not because you've created a massive system of boxes and labels and compartments in cupboards and drawers. It's because you only possess the items that truly add value to your life. And when you think about it, most often the real reason behind a cluttered home is not the lack of organisation. The real reason is that there's just too much stuff in your home to begin with, and there's too much clutter. And if your home is cluttered and you're spending way too much time managing all the stuff in your home, at the end of the day, no organisational system is going to solve that problem. And I've coached a lot of people around this topic where they will come to me and they'll say, I've sorted out my house, I've organised it all, my house looked really good for a short period of time, but actually what ended up happening is that all of the stuff ended up making its way out of all of those organised systems that they put into place, and the clutter came back. And ultimately that's because they organised before they decluttered, and the clutter is still there. It's still taking up space in your home and in your mind. It's still weighing on you. It's still adding that stress to your life. And because they've got too much stuff, the organisation just won't last. It's a temporary fix. It's not a long-term solution. At the end of the day, organising without decluttering is going to waste your time, your space, your energy, and money as well. Your time and energy from getting it all organised initially, and then more time and energy when you've got to reorganise it when it inevitably falls out of that organised system. So you're constantly organising and reorganising things that you don't even need or you don't even use in the first place. And I don't know about you, but my time and my energy are far too precious to waste organising the clutter. And also, how many times have you wished that you had more storage space, more cupboards, more drawers? And think of it this way, maybe you don't need more space at all. Maybe you just need less stuff. And trying to fit too much stuff into the space that you have is really frustrating. But when you let go of the things that you don't use or you need, you realise you don't actually need more storage space or more organising solutions. And it can also end up with you spending more money. And this happened to me loads. And that's when I'm looking around the house because I needed something. I couldn't find it because it was lost somewhere in all of the stuff that I had. So I ended up buying another one. And the big one that for me is, I mean, it's only small, but it all mounts up at the end of the day, isn't it? I had so many different rolls of sellotape because anytime I was coming to wrap presents, I couldn't find my sellotape, couldn't find my scissors, and then I end up with 10 rolls of sellotape, 15 pairs of scissors, and it's just ridiculous. So when you own less, it's easier to keep track of your stuff because there aren't piles of clutter that are hiding it. You know what you have and you know where to find it. Also, if you're buying storage bins, storage containers, shelves, organisational systems, which I am a big fan of, but you're buying them in the hope to solve your clutter problem, again, you're spending money that you don't need to. Because all those organising products, they just add more stuff into your home. And they're even enabling you to allow the clutter to stay in your home. And again, when you've got less stuff, you won't need as many organisational products and systems anyway. So after you've thoroughly decluttered, organising can come into play. It's going to further help you to simplify your home. It's going to make it look prettier, it's going to be much more aesthetically pleasing, and it's going to make your life easier. It's going to allow you to find things and keep track of what you own. It's going to help you maintain a tidy home with a lot less time and effort, which is one of my favourite things. It's going to create a home that looks good and functions well. And it's also going to help you keep the amount of stuff that you bring into your home in check. Because if you don't have a home for an item, maybe that's an indication of you need to do a little bit more decluttering, or perhaps you don't need that item to begin with. But once you've created space in your home, finding spots for things that you actually use, you love, and add value to your life is pretty easy. And that's one of the biggest things that you've got to do, because one of the easiest ways to organise and keep your home clutter-free moving forward is to have a home for everything that you own. And the key is to make each item's home quickly and easily accessible, so things actually get put away when they're not in use. And that's really easy to do when you don't have much stuff to begin with. And it's really good for other people in the home as well. When you've got young children, if they know that everything has a home and when they're finished with it, they've got to put it back, it's so much easier to maintain a tidier environment. And that's going to help your home stay organised and decluttered in the long run. What I would say though is keep it simple. Don't add more clutter into your home in the name of organisation. You don't really need anything at all to get organised. Organising can be something as simple as neatly lining things up in your cupboard or ordering your books and your magazines in a certain order. It doesn't mean you need lots of storage bins and drawer organisers. So just be careful to avoid buying a bunch of those pretty boxes and bins and baskets in the name of organisation. Just keep it simple and make sure anything that you bring into your home is just going to add value and not more clutter. And also be careful of adding any storage solutions that just end up hiding your clutter. As I mentioned earlier, organised clutter is still clutter, so just get rid of it. And I just want you to visualise something for a moment. You've got two rooms. You've got room A, and that's overflowing with items. Some of them you use, some of them you haven't even seen in years. But you buy organisers, shelves, boxes, and then you manage to get a home for everything and everything is in its place. But it might still feel a little bit heavy. But then you've got room B. You start by letting go, by decluttering the items that you don't use, you don't need, you don't love, and then the items that are left, they naturally find a home and it feels so much more spacious. They breathe, you breathe. Now, which room would you prefer? If you picked room B, I can imagine a lot of you would have done, you're not alone. And that's because in room B, what you've achieved in that space is more than just superficial order. What you've done is you've created a space that radiates simplicity, intention and calm, which ultimately is what we're all striving for. Organisation is not about trying to fit more stuff in your home or hide in the clutter. It's about helping you go that extra step to make a space look good on top of being functional and clutter-free. And on top of that, it also gives you the added incentive to keep your spaces clutter-free and organised moving forward. But keeping your home clutter-free, functional and easy to find what you need, however that looks for you, is ultimately what we're trying to get to. So the next time you're faced with a cluttered room, before diving into organisation mode, I just want you to pause and ask yourself, what can I declutter? What can I get out of this room? And believe me when I say that the path to a clutter-free environment is through decluttering and not just your organisation tools. So thank you for joining me on today's episode of The Simple Joy Show. Remember, in the journey to a clutter-free life, it's not just about arranging the pieces, it's about choosing which pieces will stay. So until next time, take care. Thank you so much for listening. If you've enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support The Simple Joy Show further, then please share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review. To catch all the latest from me, you can follow me on Instagram at HelloSimpleJoy. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.